station here in the middle is the Benedict's test for simple sugars. We're going to be using many of the same materials as what we use in the test for complex carbohydrates. If you look on your lab procedure sheet, this is test 1A. You need to get a set of test tubes, 4 of them, and make sure they are clean. If you've done any of the other lab experiments first, make sure you've washed these out. It says here to get a piece of potato again and place it in test tube number 1. I already done so, and that is right here. You'll also want to add a dropper full of Benedicts. Now, these are not the normal droppers that this lab was written for, so we are actually going to use about 5 drops of Benedicts. Okay? Make sure you close the cap each time. Again, we don't want things to spill. So test tube 1, we have potato. Test tube 2, we're going to add honey. Again, just give it a squirt from the tube, and then add your Benedicts. Test tube 3, you're going to add apple juice, found here, and your Benedicts. And then again, the last test tube, you're going to add just water and also Benedicts. This is testing to make sure everything in our lab is clean and the way we need it to be. Once you have your test tubes filled, in this experiment only, we're actually going to heat our test tubes. So carefully take your test tubes over here to our hot water bath. It says in your lab directions that we need to heat these test tubes in boiling water for 3 minutes. This is where you need to be extremely careful. You don't want to drop your test tubes, and you also don't want to burn yourself. You're going to use these test tube holders to grab a test tube one at a time and place it in the hot water bath. Just kind of gently place it down the side. Now, as long as you've labeled your test tubes or they have a good identifying mark on them, you should be able to put all 4 in at the same time. Okay, so I have all 4 of my test tubes in. I want to make sure I start my watch, and I have 3 minutes. You want to watch carefully. Controls over here for heat are right on the front in case something goes wrong. And there's also these rubber things that you can use to grab this if it's really, really hot, if you need to for some reason. Just so that you know what these are there for. It's right there. So after 3 minutes, you're going to grab your test tubes one at a time and place them back where you found them